Hey Scott, just wanted to start this interview with you on living the meatless lifestyle. You've been one of the pioneers in adopting a completely meatless lifestyle. So just have a number of questions to help all of our other users make the transition to living a meatless lifestyle. So the first question is, tell us in 30 to 60 seconds what you do and who you have conversations with in a given week to do what you do.
Hello, Josh. My name is Scott Paul, and I'm the CEO of a company called Volley. And what I really do in a given day is split my time between talking to employees, prospective employees, and a lot of people on LinkedIn. That seems to be my social of choice and where I have the most conversations. And so, unlike I don't do an Instagram or Facebook really, I'm always on LinkedIn. And there over the last 8 years, honestly, even longer, what am I saying? Probably 12 years, I've been pretty active. And I can't remember, 6 years ago when they started having a feed where you could create content, I started creating content. And that brings a lot of engagement, through the inbox and messaging where people say, hey, I love the post you did. I'd love to grab 15 minutes of time and talk to you, and you encouraged me to do this or try this. And I used to take those 15 minutes and put them on a calendar, and it was painful, but it was kind of a way that I like to get back to the community and just help an entrepreneur out or somebody asking questions. And now that's over. I am going to do it asynchronously. No more meeting invite, no more looking at my schedule, just one simple link I drop in there. Eventually it'll probably just say, hey, search me up. I'm Scott Paul. I'm Volley. So that's the new way to be meatless.
And I know you're also a very active angel investor and having many conversations with the dozens of companies that you've invested in, as well as new entrepreneurs and hearing pitches all the time. So the question is, why did you decide to go meatless?
Hey, Josh, just doing some mountain biking, showing off the value of asynchronous communications. So why I decided to go meatless is, well, for reasons like this. I like to go mountain biking with my wife any time of the day, and I don't like when I have a scheduled something on the schedule on the calendar that would require perfect connection and real time two-way connectivity. In some cases, many people on the call, and so I'm able to do what I want when I want it, and no one seems to be against it. In fact, everyone's like, oh my gosh, this will help me so much with my life. And no looking at your calendar, trying to figure out when you both have a time to meet. You start a conversation whenever you want, and they can respond whenever they want. It's turn-based. The best part too of going meatless is time savings. On LinkedIn and meeting entrepreneurs that wanted to send me their deck and they're looking for an angel to invest. I used to take those calls and it would be an hour long, and that's just too much. I don't have time for an hour call with everyone that requests. It just wouldn't be a good use of anyone's time, honestly. I now do those same discussions in less than 5 minutes. And maybe it'll go 10 minutes back and forth, but it happens at 2x speed too. I'm able to consume video content just like audiobooks at double the speed. And so you call it 20 minutes of content, but done it in 10 minutes. And it never goes over really often unless I'm really interested, because a meeting will always fill the time that you have put aside for it. If it's an hour, you're going an hour, sometimes over. But with Volley, you can get the conversation done when what's been said and the action that needs to take is clear. You move off to whatever action that is and finish that conversation, or keep it going in perpetuity.
Yes, I love what you said about I don't have time for that. An hour. I know all of my investor friends see 1,000 pitches a year, 900 of which are not useful, but they can't really upset the entrepreneur and end it quickly. So you sit through an hour and a half sometimes. The ability to record video can definitely help you become more succinct and precise with your responses. So next question would be, what did your day look like before you made this shift, and what does it look like now? Like some tangible evidence, anything you could share there.
It's now another day. We're still going back and forth, volleying essentially with this turn-based system. And my day is I'm again with my wife on a chairlift at Sundance in the middle of the day, working because I don't have a calendar that's chock full of time that's been cut out of my day that I follow. If I have things on my calendar, I do them. I show up, I get on those calls, I get into those meetings. My calendar, since going this asynchronous, meetingless way, has maybe 2 things a day. I looked at Friday. I don't have a event on the calendar for Friday. I have 2 things on Thursday. I actually had 3 today because there was a personal thing I'm dealing with kids, and so I just put it on there. That looks nothing like what my life was even 4 or 5 months ago. Even the height of COVID, I was chock full of Zoom, lunch, Zoom. I mean, it was just, it was overwhelming. I got anxiety. I had mental anguish because I was really easily accepting anybody that wanted to meet, and I would set up that appointment and I would follow it. It controlled me. The calendar was in charge. I was not in charge anymore, and I felt that, and I was exhausted every night. That is not the case anymore. I've been reading more, I've been working out, I've been doing so many more things because my calendar is not in charge anymore. Is that what you're looking for? Because I don't need time and place. I don't need to meet and have conversations at a set time or a set place anymore. This is reality. And this is going to change I think this is going to be possible for a lot of people. Now we understand there's lots that have to be at a time and a place for meetings in person. I mean, it's not for everyone, but for the work that I do, it has changed my day completely.
Sounds like this move to asynchronous has brought you a lot of peace. Peace. Curious, what conversations do you feel like still need to be face-to-face, that still need to be synchronous? Like what are those couple of appointments that you have Thursday this week or whatnot? What are those things that you now reserve for the synchronous face-to-face communication?
It's ironic, but none really, except for those when the other party feels that synchronous needs to happen. I'm finding that almost all conversations for me would be better in a turn-based back and forth platform for the most part, business related. The ones that I have still on the either physical or Zoom seem to be a party is used to that, and that's most parties. Let's be honest. This is a new concept for communication. So like quick decisions, things that require a decision to make a hire by a certain time. Like we are trying to make 3 hires right now, and they're very time based. And Volley and asynchronous isn't where I would probably go for trying to get an action with against a timeline or something that needs to happen right away. I would take that to both phone call, Slack, email, and then try to get them in person or whatever. So that's a hard part for any communication, is these time capsule things that have to happen right away with deadlines. But most of the conversations are really only going to in person because of the other party being more comfortable with that and not having yet experienced this type of communication. I do think there are several magical things that happen in person when you have a whiteboard and you have the 4 or 5 people there, and you're kind of spitballing, and you're making faces, and you're watching body language in the moments that are not, you're not in front of a camera, right? And so there's a lot of things that go on in the physical world towards very specific brainstorming or moments of creation that will be hard for any device to replicate. But and I make sure that I save time for those. But I'm also a big fan of some of the brainstorming that can happen when it's turn-based, when you can kind of collect your thoughts. And so it's a give and take on that one. I see both being helpful. But does that answer the question, Josh?
Yeah, that's it. It's definitely give and take. So, as you made this transition to a meatless lifestyle, did you encounter any friction from those that are around you, team members, family, maybe some of the entrepreneurs that were pitching you, or people that wanted to just pick your brain and get your time? As you offered an asynchronous option to connect, was there any pushback, and what was the form of that? What did that look like, and were you able to overcome that?
Yeah, I did get frictions, Josh. I have people in the company who really prefer Slack or Zoom and don't want to budge and have another communication platform. We're inundated with, we have too many as it is. We're having to check email, LinkedIn, Slack, and we have to check other in-app communications, Instagrams, your socials, and text messages, WhatsApp. These are all ones on my front page of my iPhone. So there is communication tool fatigue for sure. And so I think the first thing I was met with people that were worried about that, get another tool. Once I got them in, they were all on board. They're like, wow, you got something out of like the way she expressed, the way we were able to get to know her. She's from Texas, so far away from us, no way to really do an in-person interview. I converted a handful right then. There's only 2 left in my 20-person organization who don't like the communication style. The other friction that one could see is around video. And a lot of people don't want to be on video. I have a partner who hates being on video. They kind of think you have to like stage it and stuff. As you can see, I'm on video. I'm driving. I'm not driving actually. I wouldn't do this if I was actually having to drive, but I am being driven, I should say. I'm in a car. That is another one, video. So asynchronous video is kind of what we're talking about with Volley, but it doesn't have to be video. You have options to just show your profile face and do audio. You have options to do just notes, like that. So there are other ways to communicate. I really feel that video is what makes it unique, what allows you to see the gestures and the nonverbal cues that someone has and get to know them in a different way. It's been really important for me to have that. So those are the friction points and objections I've seen with this style of communication.
Thanks for saying that, Scott. And yeah, we're not in any way condoning the use of Volley while driving a vehicle. So just wondering if you feel like you've lost any fidelity or any quality in communication in the process of your move to an asynchronous lifestyle.
I think there is parts of that I've lost fidelity in. I think that's just across the board with the COVID going on. I just feel like communication in general has become low fidelity. Some things you just can't remote, But overall, no. I think that I've gained fidelity where I had too much fatigue on doing Zoom, too distracted. I wasn't my whole self ever on any Zoom call. I wasn't bringing myself to the call. It's easy to fall away and be distant. There is no, think about it right now. This is 1-to-1, and there is no me being distracted. I can't go I'm not going to type an email while I'm doing a Volley with you, and I'm not going to look at the screen but be thinking of something totally different. You get everything. You get all of me. And I can't be lazy like I can on Slack and just kind of like an emoji or put in a quick sentences while I'm hopping between many different channels. The intentionality and the focus that is required of this platform is high fidelity. And I'm ADHD. I struggle with those other platforms tremendously. I can't do Zoom. It takes me away. I lose interest really quickly, and I bounce to other things if I know I'm not having to talk or be talked to. It's something that I might have to answer to. I'm gone. It's just my personality. It sucks. It's hard. But with this and with Volley and with this communication style, you get all of me, and I think that's pretty significant and says a lot. even a phone call, even a live phone call, I disappear. I can do something else. If you're talking too much, I can start looking around, get distracted. This is the only platform that I know of where I am all in, 100% focused, talking to you or to the team. And I'm not, my mind and body and time and actions and thinking are not somewhere else.
That's a great point, how asynchronous is an all-in communication type. I would add to that in a synchronous conversation, we're building our responses during our partner's turn. So we're not completely invested in what they're saying because we're also thinking about what I'm about to say next. And with asynchronous, you can completely invest yourself into listening and then completely invest yourself into speaking, all in, as you said. So next question would be, have you found any downsides to asynchronous communication? Like what is lacking in your life? What do you have to add back in once you've made this transition to completely meetless?
All right, I think the downside of Volley or asynchronous communication in general might be a technical one, but let me explain. When you're done with a phone call, you're done. It ends. You hang up, click, over. There might be some actions that follow from there, but you know it's over. You can archive an email. You have a conference call, and it's time-based. It's done. When the time allotted for that call is over, it's over. And there's some things that you might have to do from there. But asynchronous communication, having a conversation, it's kind of like text messaging, right? It kind of keeps going, and you pop in and out of it if you need, or it's just reoccurring and it comes every. That's actually the best one. If it's reoccurring, like a stand-up every week, well then you do your thing and it'll come back. That conversation will be there for next time you do it. But the one part that I haven't figured out is when you're having a conversation with someone, meeting someone for the first time and talking back and forth, and then it just kind of dies, or who goes next, or is it over? Was it done? Was the purpose of our meeting completed? And I think that's the thing, is you just don't really know. So, we like to compartmentalize things and check boxes. And so I'm trying to figure out what I want there to feel like conversation is either not in my court anymore, the ball's in your court, or it's over. The objective of that conversation has been achieved. So that's the only downside I really see, or something that needs to be figured out.
That's so true. It does create kind of a weird feeling when you've actually accomplished your task and you need to move on. We're not used to that. I was actually writing about this today, how most meetings or conversations have some sort of time box to them. And we're so used to that time box, so we know how to, speed things up if we're running out of time, or fill if we have plenty of time. And with asynchronous, the conversation takes just as much time as it needs to, no more, no less. And that's different than what we're used to. So it takes some adjusting. Okay, so last question. What tips do you have for someone who's hoping to adopt this lifestyle, who wants to move all of these scheduled meetings and appointments off their calendar and live or achieve, maybe even one day a week, this meetless lifestyle? What tips would you have for them to get started?
Wait, where's
I like this so much because I'm somewhere new every time, and you can see a little bit of my life and the speed of trust at which you can get to know someone else, see their environment. I'm giving my kid a bath right now. I couldn't do a conference call right now very easily. So, last question. What do I suggest people do? Try this. Invite people who may be on both spectrums of your closeness. So the most close people, invite them to an asynchronous platform and start conversing with them. On the other end, the other spectrum, people you're not close at all, people that try to ask for your time, maybe in a sales email says, can I get 15 minutes of your time to show you what we're doing, Take them out of their turf and put them into an asynchronous conversation like this and see what happens. I did that with some salespeople they were trying to sell me financial management systems, accounting systems, all this funny stuff. And they're probably used to getting rejected. I invited them into this system, and some came in. I thought it was really bold, and I got to see the guitars. The rep played a guitar for me, and I thought it was pretty cool. So start with those two sides of conversations where it doesn't really matter if they don't want to try this conversation, and then the ones that are really important. See what they say, and begin to peck away at your calendar and the commitments you make. And turn ones that are on your calendar. Look at your calendar every day and say, which one of these could go asynchronous? Which one of these could maybe fit into does it need a time and place? And then do that audit. And then, you'll start to maybe pick a day that everything goes that way. And then you tell people you're doing that. You got to let them know this is a decision you're making for the ease of life, for the way you work best. And I've been doing a lot of training and explaining why I do that, even with a really important, some of these are people that I don't want to risk that, but they still try it, even though it's such a different communication style and it's a meeting I would not want to mess up on. I still try it. So that's my tips.
Great ideas, especially the one about setting boundaries and just telling other people what you're doing and why you're doing it. It seems that everyone that you've been able to explain that to, from my observation, they quickly kind of get it and are excited and potentially inspired by the idea. So thanks, Scott. Really appreciate you taking the time to tell us how you've made this transition to a meatless lifestyle. You are a hero and an inspiration to us all.